Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this episode, we will deploy our Mistborn Firewall server. And you may be asking, what is Mistborn? So Mistborn is a virtual private cloud platform and a nice graphical web UI where you can manage all of your VPN connections, you can create users, you can add your customers, your family, whatever you want to do with it. It is your own VPN server. What really got me into the Mistborn is that previously I was using Firewall, but I think the Firewall project is now dead because there are too many issues. It is not stable. You have to restart servers almost on a daily basis to get a connection with your VPN server, and yeah, I think the project is now dead. So I find the Mistborn, and at the moment I'm running Mistborn for more than 6 months, and it never fails. And also it has many benefits over Firewall. For example, you can deploy with one click your own password manager, Vault Warden, that will be only communicating with your VPN. You don't have to do any tunnels, any proxy, anything. It will be running through your VPN only. And there are also Nextcloud, Jitsi Meet, and also you can set up your own home assistant if you have in your home. That's enough of talking, and let's get started with installing our Mistborn server. So as I mentioned before, Mistborn is a virtual private cloud platform for your VPN connections and your open source application. To install Mistborn, it is really simple. It is just one command and it will install everything. So as you go to the GitLab page, which I will put link in the description, you can read more about the project. But basically what you want to do is to go to the installation, and installation command will be up there. Let me check it. Basically, this is all what you need to copy. But first, we will need to create our own server. So for that, I'm using my Hetzner, where I will create new project, name it Mistborn. I forgot the T. Gonna add my new project. And basically, when you create new project in Hetzner, what I like to do is to set up my SSH key. So I name it Amnestify, and I'm going to paste my SSH key. So once you have your SSH key, you can make it default for this project group, and you can click Add SSH key. Another thing what I like to do is to set up a placement group. And basically placement group is you can group multiple servers into a placement group to optimize your availability. That means as you create more servers, those servers will not be stored on the main big servers, but those will be split between the servers. So there is high availability for those virtual private servers. And it is pretty simple. You just create placement group, you name it, for example, home lab, and you click create. Once this is done, we can continue to deploy our server for Mistborn project. And as you can see, you can select your data center in Germany, Finland, or even US West or US East. What's really cool about Hetzner is that you get all the latest operating system, and also now you can deploy even Alma Linux 9 and 8 with a simple click. But in this tutorial we will use Ubuntu 22.04, and I recommend using 4 GB server, because in the next episode we will install our applications through Mistborn, and those applications need some extra memory. But if you want to run only VPN server only, you can go easily with a 2 GB server without any issues. But in this case, we will go with the 4 GB. For the networking, we don't need IPv6. We got our SSH key, because who authenticates with passwords nowadays? And if you want, you can enable backups, and you can place the server in the placement group. And for the name, we will name it Mistborn, and you create your server. Once your server is created, copy your IP address and add your server to your favorite SSH terminal, or if you are using PuTTY or Terminus. So let me switch Windows back to the terminal, and I also created group in the Terminus, and I'm just going to add my new host and name it Mistborn. I paste the IP address, username will be root, and I set my own SSH key, and I double click accept the fingerprint, and I'm in my server. Let me close the snippets, we don't need it. And first, when you log into your server, make sure to update it, so type apt update $& and apt upgrade, that's yes, and this will update and upgrade all the packages in your server. So once this is done, we will continue. And sometimes when you upgrade your server, you will be presented by this screen. You don't need to panic, you just press enter. Now you press tab to restart all the services and press enter. Nothing will break, everything is just fine. So our server is now updated, and I will copy the command from the documentation, and I will just paste it, and that's it. And automatically the server, the Mistborn application, is going to be installed. And this process can take 10 to 15 minutes. But now what you need to do is to set up your main administrative interface password. And the admin password must only contain alphanumeric characters. So choose your password wisely and make it really, really strong. So I'm going to type my password. And if you want to have Cockpit, which is system management graphical user interface, you can install it. You just press Y to yes, or if you don't want to use Cockpit, you can press no. On 2 GB server, I don't recommend using Cockpit because it can get every resource hungry. But in this case, on our 4 GB server, we can use it, so I can show it to you. So press Y. And now everything is going to be installed automatically, and when there will be some change, I will show you and talk about it. So after a couple minutes, the Mistborn is installed, but we need to make sure that all services are already running. So we need to copy this command. I will duplicate this window so I can see that our services are running perfectly. And as you can see, everything is being deployed, and we just have to wait until this process will be done. And it looks like the process is now done. So we can close this window, and we need to run this command, which will create our administrative tunnel configuration file so we can connect to the graphical user interface. All the services running on the server are only listening to this administrative configuration file, so please keep it really safe. So just copy this command, press enter, and it will generate this configuration file. What you need to do, you need to copy this from start to end. Open your Notepad application. Paste the configuration file and save it as a type, all types, and you can name it like admin tunnel.conf. Make sure it is ending by configuration extension CONF, and you can save it in the desktop. And now we will need to download our Wireguard. So let me switch window to the browser. And when we go to the wireguard.com, you go to installation, and depending on your operating system, you download your installer. If you are on Windows, you download the installer. From macOS, you can do it from the App Store, and also if you are on the phone. So let me share my desktop. So once you install your Wireguard client, you will be presented by this screen. You won't have there any tunnels, but what you want to do, you will need to click add a tunnel. You go to your folder where you save your configuration file, and you click open, and now you can activate your tunnel. As you can see, we are receiving traffic, so everything is working as should. Okay, so we can close these WireGuards for now. And now, when you want to visit your administrator interface, you type http home.mistborn. And this is your main graphical user interface for managing all WireGuard connections. So first, let me walk you through the system. And as you can see, in the system tab, we have our cockpit. And when we open the cockpit, you will need to enter your username, which in this case is root. and your password if you set it up. But we did not set up our password, so we need to go back to our server. And I need to reconnect to our server. And to set up your root password, you need to type PASSWD, and now you enter your root password twice. Alright, we have our root password, so we can log into the cockpit. And basically, this is like the overview of the system resources, how much memory you have left, how much CPU you are using. Also for security updates, you can check the logs, errors, you can monitor your storage, you can add NFS mounts if you have some, and also you can monitor your networking. It is pretty simple and easy to use, and you will get a complete overview of your system resources in a nice graphical way. So let's go back to our Mistborn dashboard. And also when you see firewall, you will see PiHole, Copper Cloud, and metrics. I will not talk about the Copper Cloud because it is really resource heavy if you want to deploy it, and you will need at least 16 gigabyte server, which can get pricey if you want to use that things with everything. But the main point of this in this part is to set up our Wireguard profiles. As you can see, this is our profile, the main admin one. And if you want to create or add your users or family members to use this VPN server, all you need to do is to create user. You can name it, for example, Smart TV. You click create, and your Smart TV will have a dedicated VPN connection. Same goes also for your customer or clients. You can create unlimited users, unlimited configuration files. Once you're done with the project, all you need to do is to go back to the user and you can just delete it. So you don't forget to leave those things if your project ended, for security reasons, of course. And in the next part, we will talk about extra services. Let me zoom out a little bit. And as you can see, you get access to the Home Assistant. You can set up your browser on your server, Tor. You can do meetings with Jitsi. But most importantly, you can run your own Bitwarden server. So yeah, I think this is pretty it for this part. And let me show my camera. So yeah, this is pretty easy and simple to use, straightforward. And in the next part, we will talk about more advanced things, what you can do with this Mistborn installation, how you can set up your DNS level ad blocker, where you can add more blocking hosts, and also to set up DNS over HTTPS that will communicate only with the Cloudflare DNS. 1.1.1.1, and yeah. So I hope that you like this video. If you run into any issues, please let me know down in the comments below. And also check the documentation for this, but it is pretty simple. You just copy the command and it will be deployed automatically. So stay tuned for the next video this weekend, where we will dive deep into the Mistborn. And as always, be safe, and yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Bye bye.